Hey everybody, Engineered Coffee. Welcome to a little bit different of a video. I had this little spark of imagination to build a 7-segment display in Space Engineer. Saw quite a few people on YouTube do it in with 3D printers and stuff, and I thought it was really cool and something that we could recreate here. So let's go through how I got this set up. Alright, so I've got an idea for a 7-segment counter that I want to do. So I just got this small grid wall here with a black background just so we can have it kind of pop. With the weldless, or what is it called? I can't remember what the texture is called. Yeah, weldless armor. There we go. We are in creative. So I've got an idea for this. I had tried one with like a rotor to spin, and that just did not work. So we're going to use hinges instead. Let's put it up pretty high. And then here, instead of black, we're going to use white. There we go. White and weldless. Not those, I want the plate. So I saw a video on YouTube. I'll try to link it below. Not that this guy needs any help. It's got millions of views, that he did it with a 3D printer, and so I'm kind of emulating that. I tried to do one that had like a rotor that spun around completely. But this flip style works a lot better for space engineers with all the clearances and stuff. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to do another one. Where'd my rotor go? Did I just take it off? Nope, there it is. And it's a hinge. I don't know why I'm calling it a rotor. Okay, so up there. This one goes there. Let's see, and it gets that and a half piece. This one goes here. This one could either go down or up. I think I'm going to have it go... I think I'm going to have it go up. And there. I'm having all the negatives point towards the outside. Just makes it easier. There we go. That's basically it. That's all the mechanics that we need for this thing. And now we just need a bunch of white plates. Okay, if I can attach to the right area. And these amazingly fit. I've done a little test with this before, and they actually amazingly fit in here together without conflicting, so that's really nice. Okay, like that, and then these get 45s. And they actually mesh together and play nicely, which is cool. And then in between here, we put half slabs. There we go. One half slab connects to that one, and then the other one goes on the top over there. All right, well, there is our number with the number 8. Now all we need to do is articulate each one of the hinges. So I went through and I renamed all of these hinges to the 10th spot, because I want to make this a 3-digit display. So I'm going to put one on the left and one on the right, and then we can have a counter that goes up to 999. So here in the control panel, I did rename all of the hinges. So those are the 10th place, so those are the 10s, which each 7 positions here, and then they're all set to a velocity of 60. And then we have an upper limit of 0 and a lower limit of 90. And so then when we reverse, like we could take the middle here and we could reverse it. And now when we look at it straight on, that's the number 0. And then also on the back side, I have 9 different timers, well 10 different timers to get all the digits 0 through 9. So we'll go ahead and get that set up. And so just like I was saying, the middle one is going to be retracted. So when we go into here to set up actions, we got all of our hinges here. We're going to do a set velocity. And for all the ones that we want to be shown, gets a positive velocity. And the ones that we don't want to be shown get a negative velocity. In this case, with the number 0, all of these are positive, except for this one here in the middle, gets to be a negative 60. And then likewise, here in number 1, each one of them is pretty much going to get a negative velocity, except for the right-hand side. Okay, we'll go ahead and give this one a little test. We'll do a trigger now. There we go. It's a little easier to see front on. There we go. We got our number 1, and we'll just keep doing this for all of the other digits. All right, there we go. I got all of them set up. So now we can go to any number. If we go to number 8, it should flip them all out. There we go. Let's get a little platform here, actually. Let's redo that button panel. There we go. Let's also bring back the sun. So now when we're in here, we could do digit number 5, and we can trigger, and it'll do a number 5. Now, if you're wanting to purely do a counter, you could do this a little bit different, where you wouldn't have to set up every single hinge like this with a set velocity, because like when you go from number 8 to number 9, all we're really doing is rotating that single bottom hinge over. So you could have the digit 9 just rotate that hinge, and then when you go to 0, you rotate it back and rotate the middle over. But setting it up this way explicitly, we can now just jump to whatever number we want. I'm going to go ahead and trigger it back to number 8, so it's that way. Now we need to get the other 2 going on, so I'm going to actually just go ahead and cheat a little bit. Since we're in creative, I will just delete out some blocks here, and we'll see if we can copy and paste the other ones in. We'll go ahead and just disconnect this, I think would be the easiest way to do it. There we go. Now it's unpowered. Let's just get a battery on the back. And then since we're here, let's go ahead and rename this guy. Alright, so I'm going to go through and rename this one to 1s on all of these, so we don't get confused later when we paste it in. Alright, then I'm going to copy it a couple times, and I want to make one of them the hundreds. Okay, and we'll hold that one over there as a spare, so let's go ahead and copy the single one here. See if we can get it to paste back on our original. There we go. Okay, now we'll fill it in with blocks. Alright, so all I want to do with this is just to do a count up system. If we wanted to do a count up and count down, it's going to be a lot of complex programming and checks to make sure they're doing the right thing. So we're going to do just a count up. Alright, on the back side I put another timer. We're going to go ahead and find it. There it is down at the bottom. We're going to call this the reset timer. And in the actions here, we're going to find our digit zeros. We're going to turn them all on, make sure they're on. We'll do a trigger now, and then we'll turn them back off. Okay, and then the next page we want to do our ones place. And so we've already taken care of our digit 0, now we need to do the rest of the digits. So for digit 1, we want to turn that one on, and the rest of them will be turned off. And then we're going to go to page 2, or page 3, and we're going to do the same thing for the tens place. Again, digit number 1 is on, all the rest get turned off. Then page 4, we're going to do the same thing for the hundreds. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a trigger now on that one. Shouldn't have done anything because we had them all set to 0, but we should be able to go on the back side and see all of these guys are off. That's good. Now I'm going to put another timer back here next to the reset timer. And we're going to call this one the counter up timer. And all this is going to do is it's going to do a trigger now on all of the ones digits. There we go. I went and just split them in half. So here on the first one we got 0 through 4, and the next one we got 5 through 9. So that's all that's going to do, and see if we try to hit it right now, if we do our counter up timer, we do a trigger now, it's going to do the number 1 because that's the only timer that's on. So we'll go ahead and hit our reset now. Alright, so obviously when we triggered that, we only did digit number 1 is the only one that was triggered because it was the only one that was on. So when we go here to set up actions in timer number 1, what we can do is have it turn timer number 2 on. So we'll find our 1's digit timer, so we're going to turn 2 on, and we're going to have it turn itself off after it's done. So here in number 2, setup actions, we're again going to have it turn itself off. But before it does that, it turns number 3 on. Okay, and then when we get back to 0, this one's going to be a little bit different because we actually want to start counting up the tens place. So here in its actions, I'm going to go to page 2, and I want to do the tens. I want to trigger all of those as well. We're going to do like we did before. We're going to do a trigger now on all of these. And on page 3 is the last one. We're going to do a trigger now on number 9. And then we also need to go back to our ones. And we need to make sure it turns digit number 1 on, and that it turns itself back off. Okay, and that should trigger it, and if we count up to 9 and then get to 10, it should switch that guy over to the number 1. We haven't done anything with the tens place to switch digit number 1. I think it's the only timer that's on right now. Yes. So we should be able to count up. So let's get a button here. We're going to do a trigger now on our count up timer. There we go, got the number 1, number 2. We can keep clicking this as we want. 9, and then hopefully when we hit number 10, it switches. There we go. Got our tens place. And then when we keep clicking, it'll reset. And it's going to go through all the numbers, but we won't get number 2. Yeah, because we have not set up the tens place. That's interesting. The reset timer is not resetting that one, and I don't know why. Alright, so I found the issue here is instead of turning digit number 1 on for the tens place, we turn it off. And so we're going to do the same thing here for the hundredths place as well, because I'm sure it's going to be the same problem. The reset is now working correctly, and then in the counter timer for the tens place, we have our digit 0 is doing the same thing where it's turning number 1 on and turning itself back off. I don't have it triggering any of the hundredths place yet, so we can go ahead and do that. All right, I think I've got it all set up. So now in each one of these timers here, if we go to our digit timers here and we set up actions, it turns the next digit on and turns itself back off. And then the zeros here, not for the hundreds place because it doesn't count up to 1,000. Here in our tens timer for digit 0, what it's doing is it is moving all the hinges obviously to 0 spot, and then it's triggering all of the digit timers depending on which one is on. And then it's turning the next digit on and itself off. Now we can go ahead and click the count up. We're here at number 9, it should click over to 10. We can keep clicking through. Now we've got 23. And so forth. And then we hit our reset, they all go back to 0. Alright, and I've got one more timer before we call it a day. We're going to put this one here on the back. We're going to call this one automatic counter. I'm going to exit out and go back in just so it's at the top. And all we want this guy to do is if we go here to set up actions, we're just going to have it trigger the counter up timer, and then we're going to have it call itself. We're going to do a start. And that's all that guy's going to do. And then here in our counter reset, we're going to go all the way to the last page where we have an open spot. We're going to find our automatic timer, and we're just going to stop it. So now let's set up a better button panel than this. Should be able to fit one in here. All right, here we go. We've got our buttons on here. I set the automatic timer to 1 second delay, so now it should be counting up every 1 second. So if we do our manual counter, we can click through and it'll cycle in. We can hit our automatic timer and it should start doing it all by itself. There we go. And then we'll hit a reset here. Reset it all back down to 0. And then we run this for a bit and make sure that the hundredths place actually changes. All right, here we go. We're on 94. See if it ticks over to 100. Yay! All right, that's working great. I love it. All right, I went ahead and made a more compact version of the counter here, so we can hit our manual button and cycle through, or we can hit our automatic button and it'll start counting up. It's here to 9, it'll tick over. Here we go. And now once we get to 99, it should tick over to 100 and keep counting. Perfect. So yeah, a little bit more compact version. It fits in a 2x3 square. I was thinking it could be just 5 because these are 5 tall, but these need a place to swing. So it could fit on a, you know, only 1 block wide or, you know, large block grid if it was sticking out and it wasn't going against the floor. So you just got to worry about the extra little bits on the edges for it to go out. So yeah, but it fits really nicely here on this 2x3 when it's inside of a room. So I like it. All right, well, hopefully you found this video pretty fun. It was kind of a little side quest that I wanted to do, so I will maybe use this as a kill counter or something for the Skeeter. I'm not sure, but it was just kind of a fun little side project, and I will see you guys back on Mars.